Awesome. Hey, we're back. Can you
Hey,
imagine that?
everybody.
Seems like forever, but it's only been 2 weeks. Hey, everybody. It's 5 p.m. Central Time, time for the Crow's Nest. Jason and I are back from our various adventures. And today we have on the show Dave Baker from Trenchworx. Not to be confused with Dave Baker from Forged in Fire. That's one of the guys I looked it up. Because I knew their name Dave Baker. I'm like, wait, I know that name in a couple other places, and it's Rick Baker is a creature creator. So we're not going to talk about either one of those things. We're going to talk about Dave
That's
Baker,
good.
owner and
I think we
operator
should
of
spend the rest of the
Trenchworx.
show going through all the bakers we're not going to talk about. I think that's,
Yeah,
There's
that's a
20,000 in Utah.
possibility.
yeah.
So
Yeah, see, here you go.
I
Resides
always
in
prefer
Sandy,
it when the cops
Utah.
are looking for me. I say, look at this Dave Baker. He's the one you're looking for.
Right, exactly. So, thanks everybody for joining us. I should probably click over so I can see what's going on the chat. Um, we are we're back this week. Did you have a nice week off, Jason?
I did.
What'd you do?
I did. It was it
Yeah.
was nice. Well, I got two new pugs I got to get acclimated to and have them
Uh-huh.
acclimated to our yard. So thankfully, it's been pretty sunny out. So we've been outside a lot, running around.
Mm-hmm.
Been going to art shows. Trying to cram all that
Oh,
summer stuff we didn't do into the fall.
yeah. Hey, Dave, was it snowing? Did it snow at your house yesterday?
No, it snowed this morning. I walked out
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, great. Finally. Last week it was 85,
Yeah.
and this week it's
Dave,
40, 32.
Yeah, we're getting
uh,
ice on everything in the morning.
we had
Are
snow
you guys
this
up in the
this
mountains,
late morning.
Jason? Well, you're
Well,
in
we're in
Spokane. So.
Spokane, so we're not really up in the mountains, but we're between some mountains in the cold part of Washington. So,
So Bob and Julie are on, Rings is on, Tish is on, Bryce is on. Thanks so much. So we're going to be talking to Dave, and one of the things that Dave does, we'll get much into greater detail, is do a lot of the resin casting for Reaper miniatures. And today I am working on a dragon that has not. If you were at ReaperCon and you did the tour, and you went through the tour and you went to Ron's office, if you saw his office, that was the cleanest. That was a fictional office because it's never that clean. There's just crap everywhere, but he cleaned it up for the most part. But in the corner of the desk, he said, "Reaper Bone 6 question mark," and this was the bad boy in the middle of the display, or one of them. And so he is, and this was official, Jason, official Bone 6 dragon right here.
great,
This
fantastic.
dragon will be part of Bone 6, just so you know. Uh, don't
That dragon
know.
painted and everything. That's gonna be a lot of
No,
painting.
no, it's not. It's a version
Oh,
of this dragon will be
an
available
unpainted one,
in
probably.
an unpainted Bones version of it. But it's a pretty cool. He's a big dude. Um, here's the little thief from, so you can see how big he is. He's a
The
good
Thief Four
size.
scale.
So yeah, thief 4 scale. Since I don't have a Surf 4 scale available, here's an elf 4 scale. Um, not an elf foreskin. Um, so yeah, that's what we're gonna be painting on today while we chat and get to know Dave Baker. What do you think of that
I
From
think
intro, Jason?
we did about 6 or 7 of those castings for him.
Yep, I was lucky enough to get a copy, and I think what I had heard, and this may have changed, and I might have bad information here, is typically they'll keep a copy, and a copy goes to China, then a copy stays at the studio, and then a copy goes out to a painter to paint. I think the extra copies this time are going to go to some other painters, and so they're going to have multiple versions of this.
Oh, it's going to be a
Yeah,
So
I think
paint
too
painted
off.
they
instead of
also pick the best
yeah,
ones because there's different
yeah.
grades of the resin that you're like, this one's not the best. So they try to make sure the good ones go where they need to go.
Kevin Williams is the grader, and you know Kevin, right, Dave?
Oh
Um,
yeah, I know. He's got a twitch whenever he doesn't like something.
Oh, he does. He does. And
Yeah, his eye just
he's
kind
a
of twitches when he
professional
sees
grader.
some defect. And you're like, stop looking at that, Kevin.
I was sitting at my desk at ReaperCon when this was, and he hand delivered it to me, and was like going through all the various pieces and saying, "Well, just wanted to make sure you saw this and saw this." And I'm like, Kevin, I trust you. I trust that you found the best possible version that you could have given me. So, yeah, I'm super excited about this. So it's
Well, I am
still,
curious, when you get these, do you ever have to putty them or do any kind of
yeah.
resin work to make them fit really well?
Well, when they come from Trenchworx, they're always impeccably cast and cleaned.
Oh,
No,
listen
no,
to this.
yeah, write that. Did you like that? Of course. I mean, you're cutting apart a digital sculpt and a digital print, and then putting it into casting. So yeah, there's certain gaps that needed to be filled. You can see some gaps, and there was a small gap just around the arms. All the arms are separate. The legs were separate. There were two pieces to the head, and then each wing. But the main body part was just all one piece, which was awesome, which was nice. I love it when I don't have to. Sometimes in castings, you have to try to join a big tail, and that's
Right.
always hard to hide in putty.
Now we
So it
should
was nice that
also
it was
point
all
out
one piece.
Mhm.
So
we should point out
go
that
ahead.
the bones version may not be cut apart the same way.
It's a good point. I don't really care about that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
care
right.
about it.
Because I only paint it once. But no, it's a fantastic
So
piece. You
anyway,
guys
this
did a
is
great job.
Trenchworx work.
This is
This
Trenchworx.
is
Yeah.
some of what Trenchworx does, especially for Reaper. You
Yeah.
got anything else on your desk that Trenchworx has done recently?
Did you go to ReaperCon
Oh,
this year? Did you get
I did.
the VIP bundle? This was
I got it. You
Trenchworx.
saw me there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we
This is
did
the
several
VIP
hundred of
bundle.
those.
Uh,
And I think, were
yeah,
they a one-piece
fantastic.
casting? They were just
I
one
One
believe
piece,
piece.
right?
so. Mine is.
Or
One
did we break
piece.
the sword off? I can't remember.
It
No,
was one piece because
you
I
can
had.
break the sword off if you want to, but it was one piece when I got mine.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So there was this you did for ReaperCon, and then the pirate bust. You
Yes,
guys
that's a
did this as
wonderful
well
piece.
for ReaperCon.
Our
And that was
friend
It's
Gene
two
Van
pieces.
Horn,
Yeah, Gene Van Horn. Yep.
our perennial backup
Goes.
guest.
Fantastic. Yeah. He's our John Oliver. And then the other piece that I had handy was, I think this was if you, the VIP bundle, or I don't know, one of the bundles, sculpted
Yeah.
by Julie Guthrie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
a really
mermaid
neat
there.
piece.
Yeah.
The concept and
And-
up on that is tremendous.
Oops, there we go. It's a little, is it going to focus? Probably not.
I think
we
she
go.
had quite a few pieces, right? Because we had to pull the tail
Yeah.
off, or she had sculpted it for us so it could be cast.
Well, when I got it, it was one piece. So it came as one.
Well,
No, it came as two.
You got the finish.
Yeah, it came as two. Because the base was separate. I'm pretty certain. I can't
Yeah, I
remember. I
remember
may
that.
have glued it together.
Yeah, some of us when we send them in, they're in pieces and parts because we're never sure. Well, we're not always sure if they're going to show up in resin or in metal or in bones. So we.
Well, I think
default
each one of
to-
us, we all see different parts of the process, and we never
Yeah,
have time to see the whole thing, and then it's like, oh, that's right, that's kind of cool. Or you see something you
Yeah,
did,
it's really
5
neat.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Green User says it
So
was
that's
two
just some of
pieces,
the
base
things.
and figures.
Yeah. Probably remembers better than the person that put it together, which was me. And then the other thing was what Reaper Virtual Con last year. Is that when this was? Jason Weeby's. You guys cast
Yeah,
this up as well.
Yeah, it was Virtual ReaperCon last year.
Yeah, we cast
for
that
miniatures.
one, and then the
Jason.
Rodmans cast the metal parts that go on there.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't cast it
you
all
need
as
to
one
finish
piece.
that.
We tried, but then it just didn't work out real well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were tiny, the crows and all that.
Yeah, they had some.
So
There
there's
was a lot of small stuff.
Yep. Well, we wanted the base to look cluttered with tributes.
Right.
Yeah.
Just trying to see. I can't. And you had we were talking about this prior to the show. You had cast up my little clever crow bust that Christine Van Patten had sculpted up for me, and I don't
Yeah,
have
we
one
cast her or him.
lying about. Yeah, yeah.
That was
It's
a
a him.
year or two ago, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a couple. Yeah, it was 2 years. It was pre-pandemic. I think you did that for me. Yeah, because I was at Reaper at the time. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it was.
remember. I remember because he said it on the show. He's like, "Oh, they look great and stuff." So,
Oh yeah,
So
fantastic.
tell us some of the other stuff you do first from Trenchworx.
well,
I
yeah,
mean,
we
you're not
have.
just a resin caster and a printer.
Yeah, we do. Well, yeah, we print a lot of parts. We do production printing. I think we probably printed maybe 100,000 parts this year so far. We do production printing, so like where you might do a metal piece, we would do it in a print, or we can do metal as well. We do resin casting. We put all of that into a kit for some of our customers. We do all of the resin casting and distribution for Victoria Miniatures. I think you know her very
Yep.
well.
Cool.
Recently, we're helping Knuckle Duster do their models and distribution. We'll be doing that for them soon.
Oh, Knuckle
Miniature
Duster. Is
Building
that the
Authority.
old
We build
West?
all their larger, big block buildings. We do those for
Yeah.
them. And we have one right now. I don't have a picture. I was looking for it because I wanted to share it. But Blackheart Models, they have a giant Exorcist piece that we're casting for him. So yeah, we do a lot of
cool.
we do a lot of models and kits. We probably do, I don't know, 250,000 models and kits and items and things that go through out to people in the hobby industry. And we try to do,
Well, you started to do your own stuff too, right?
Oh yeah. We got our own line too. It's a balance, right? We're working for everybody,
Sure.
and we never have time to do all the stuff we want to do. We started doing tanks and historical models back in 2013, 14. Recently, this summer, we did a D-Day project. It's kind of like Saving Private Ryan. So we looked at that
Sure.
film and we took a lot of scenes out of there and converted them to our own interpretation.
Oh, how neat.
And then recently we started doing an orcs line. So we've got luchadorks and a couple other things. And I'm sure we're going to see a picture here in a few minutes. So we started to do some stuff that's getting away from the historical. I mean, it's fun. We're just trying to enjoy what we're doing. If you're not having fun, you shouldn't be doing it, right?
That's right.
Totally.
Yeah, it takes a while to learn that.
Yeah, right. So there's about 10 to 12, 13 people that work inside Trenchworx, and then there's about 4 or 5, and we have another company, and we build medical device equipment where we manufacture catheters and all sorts of different, things that go inside the body in various places, the north end, the south end, and you're just glad somebody builds it when you need it. So
Right.
that's what we do. And we never get to talk too much about that, but I was telling earlier we had done 5 different COVID projects, and we printed thousands of nasal swabs, and we did a bunch of test kit work, and we did a lot of tracheostomy tube work. So hopefully we made people helped play a part in making people more comfortable over all of this period too. So
yeah, that has to be so satisfying, and to be able to tie yourself to that you
it
played a
is.
tiny
It is.
part. Yeah.
When you talk about medical work, some of the most satisfying is doing like neonatal care and helping the children and the babies. Because man, those you got to make sure you do everything right there. The adults, they're a lot tougher and hardier. They can deal with things, but we do some neonatal catheters and things like that. So we always try to make sure that we do very very good work with that.
So you're talking about very precise, very tiny tolerances.
Oh yeah. So I think I was telling you earlier, I was working in the past couple of weeks. I've got a 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter square, and I've got a needle that I'm moving around inside there, putting glue on certain points. So I'm kind of fried right now, but it's all robotics work and moving things around. It's probably the hardest math I've ever done in my life.
You had said that was a prior specialty of yours, wasn't it? Is the automation?
Yes, I've been building things for a long time. I started working in machine shop for my uncle when I was, I think, 12. So I tell people, I was like, oh yeah, I've been building machines for 40 years. And they look at me because I've been fortunate. I look kind of young sometimes. And I've probably built, I don't know, 400, 500, 600 machines over the course of the time. And I used to work for Briggs and Stratton. So I built a lot of motors and engines. I built millions of engines. And then I worked for Kimberly-Clark, and we built diapers. And, those machines, they build diapers, I don't know, I think it's like 10 a second. And they've got, there's 70 or 80 machines around the world from various companies between Procter & Gamble and Kimberly-Clark. And in 2000, I got into the medical device business for Kimberly-Clark. I moved around for them. So I've been doing medical work for nearly 20 years.
Well, anybody that's had a bottle of Reaper paint recently has benefited by your work as well, because you guys did I believe it's called Audrey, right? The paint filling machine at Reaper.
Yeah, we built Audrey, and Audrey was a dial machine. We call it a dial machine, and she's got 12 stations. And so they put the bottles in, and then she progresses, and we call it value added. So we add the beads, we add the paint, we add a little more paint to top it off. We add the nipple. Then you got the nipple inspection. Then we add the cap. Then we got the cap inspection, and then we run the cap down, and then that goes into a label machine where they put the label on there. It's too bad. I had a video years ago. We did something for at Reaper. I talked about it, but yes. I haven't seen those videos in quite some time. But yeah, we build quite a few, several thousand a day off of that machine. And then we did the other, some people in the building call it Tiamat, and most people call it Maldrakar, because Maldrakar is the Reaper multi-headed dragon.
Right.
And that's the one it's got multiple heads, and it goes down and it fills all the paint bottles there, and then they push those through. But that's more of a manual line. It takes a lot of labor to run that one.
Oh, cool.
That's tremendous. Hey, Justin, do you have some pictures of those? Did you send him pictures of those orcs?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, I sent him
orcs.
Stuff. Yeah, I sent him a bunch of pictures. I sent him a fun group, historical group, and then some of the machines. Okay. But I think we're going to hold back.
Well, Justin will start showing them, and we'll just start talking about them.
Say,
just talk about them. That's easiest.
Since VMix isn't giving me thumbnails, let's just cycle through this like it's a slideshow, and we can kind of elaborate and talk further.
Yeah.
Hey, I was curious, is there supposed to be like a little chat window on my screen, or are y'all seeing that?
VMix does have a side chat, but no, there's currently not one for this call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go on to Twitch and you can see it.
Okay. Yeah. I see.
We usually answer the guests. We'd rather you just answer our hard-hitting questions and not have to worry about
chat.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about what's in chat. So
yeah, let's see.
Except for Gene wanted to see.
Gene's on. Yeah, Gene wants to see the orcs.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Oh yeah, we did this one last year for Christmas, because for that certain Christmas movie that nobody wants to claim as a Christmas movie. That's when you call in the truck.
It's totally a Christmas movie.
The best Christmas movie.
And these are typical gaming scale. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're 28 millimeter, 156. Yep.
That's a nice rig.
And now I'm in this mode. I want to do a little something off of that movie, that non-Christmas movie every year. And we did this because, I like doing some of the holiday stuff. I really enjoy buying the miniatures and getting the miniatures from Reaper during Christmas. So we always want to do a Santa Claus with a present bazooka. And then they have little gift objectives for him.
That's really
neat. We did that last year too.
And we can get these on Trenchworx.com?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes they're the miniature of the month. And I think I'm not as, we haven't got it set up quite like some of the freebies with some of the different companies. But I think we're going to get that program going early next year, where you'll be able to select, do you want this one or that one, kind of like you do when you order something from Reaper or from Victoria Miniatures.
Okay.
But yeah, they're available. All this stuff.
As soon as we show this stuff, people are going to want to get it. So.
Yeah, this was one we started. This is this week. We released this one.
That's cool.
Because we're trying to build a line of, we call them orcs. But they're multi-part. I just remember when we were young, we got to play with all the different multiple arms and different things for different model kits. And it seems like,
Yep.
the industry's kind of gone away from that. And we have some nostalgia feel that we want to kind of bring back and create some stuff with that. But yeah, this is the free miniature for this one. And actually, this one's supposed to have a little title at the bottom that it's free with every Orcs kit that we sell. So you can get one in an order whenever you order that. And I think you're going to show the Luchadorks here in a second.
Yep, those look like Luchadorks. No, that's your D-Day one.
No, that's not. That's
There we go.
Whoops.
that was
Yeah,
a miniature of the month.
VMix has a problem showing thumbnails.
It's all right, Justin. At least we're getting them up
cool.
there.
This is our release schedule, and I think there's going to be some Luchadorks later. We're going to go through, and we've got a bunch of Orcs that we're going to add over the course of time. And it's going to be, they're all assembled kind of like a Bits house. And like I say, if you see Victoria Miniatures, she has arms, she has torsos. So it's real similar for us. We're just going to do them with Orcs and Orcs arms and Orcs torsos and Orcs legs. And you can just kind of mix and match and get some things to add to your kits. And we've got several themes. There's Luchadorks right now. And then we've got Sporks coming later. We've got Forks. We've got Lady Sporks. We've got Porks, but they're not Pig Orcs. They're going to be something a little bit different than that. And I think they've got a couple others lined up. So, yeah, but these are the Luchadorks.
Nice.
And I think eventually there will be some sort of little game. We got to figure that out too.
Sure.
But we just want to make models. Honestly, I don't want to sit in the chat room figuring out how to play a game or answering questions.
That's
we
tough,
just want to make all the models.
People find something to do with them. I mean, they paint them and they play with them. They'll find a game for them. So.
Oh yeah, they've been popular. We've sold quite a few of these things over the last couple of days. I don't think we showed them off.
Obviously, they're wrestlers, but they'd make a good fantasy football team probably.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few things out there. Yeah, and it's just a kit with 5, but they come with the arm is individual. I should have sent you that picture. I had another one that's got the breakout. The head's individual. The hands are actually, you can move them around and do whatever you want, and then you glue them in place. So everything's very posable.
So how many possible combinations? Since you've been doing math all morning.
You know what? These are actually, we started them. So what we do is we'll start with a 3D print, and we've got resins now that they're almost like a master quality resin. And we can print a squad. We can print one of these teams in, a few teams an hour. If we sell a lot of them, we're going to convert a lot of the bigger pieces to resin. But print actually lets us build hands that are kind of enclosed.
Right.
So we'll make a sprue with a bunch of hands on it. But the torsos or the legs might be resin. Oh, that was
so somebody. If somebody orders from your store, the smaller pieces are going to be like an on-demand print.
No, actually, what we do, so we use a Kanban system to replenish everything, and it's basically a card. So we have hundreds of parts in stock, and if we get down too low, then we order that from the printing department or from the mold department or from the metal department, and then they replenish it. So we actually we print to stock. So like these 3D prints, we'll have 100 of those in the stock location, if that makes sense. And this was a mini of the month for June. This was for D-Day, and I don't know if you recognize the character with the bubble gum looking at the mirror. That's a pretty famous scene from one of the movies. The one before this was Uncle Sam, and we did a Made in USA program. Everything we do is made here. We don't get anything from out of the country. And
that's tremendous.
Yeah, our resin supplier, he's right across the street, so we just buy, several 55-gallon drum kits of resin, and then we have a distribution system in the shop, and it pumps it everywhere it needs to go, and we're constantly going through resin. We go through a barrel kit every couple of weeks, so
I imagine,
the resin must flow. It's like the resin mines.
That's good looking stuff.
Yeah, Nate Brooks
Fun.
actually sculpted these.
Yeah. Now I recognize Nate's
quick.
name. He's sculpted for Victoria, hasn't he?
I think he did 1 or 2 pieces,
Yeah.
but we
I
did bit
recognize his name.
conversions and got them digital. I don't think he's done any big pieces.
Maybe he hasn't done any. But yeah. I've
Yeah, I
seen
don't
his
think
name
so.
here and there.
Hey, quick plug
So
for
what
the
do you
Poke
got?
Tool. We forgot the Poke Tool, Jason. So, Dave, we'll be sending you a Poke Tool.
Oh man,
and this
awesome.
Poke Tool, this is show exclusive Poke Tool. So you can only get this on this show, either as a guest, you get one for being a guest, but also for every 3 subs that we get during the show, we'll give away a Poke Tool. So if we got 9 subs, we'll give away 3 Poke Tools, and you just do #free in chat, and we'll give these away. Sculpted by Julie Guthrie, with handwriting on the back by her loving husband, Bob Rodolfi. So, Poke Tool, get the subs in now, and we will give these away at the end of the show.
We're actually already.
So I forgot to talk about that in the beginning.
We're actually already at 3 subs.
1 sub?
We're at 1 giveaway
Already.
currently.
Fantastic.
All right, we're at 1. So you're not getting this one, but you'll get one just like it. So, and then we got to get Dave at least one or a couple.
Well, I need one. Yeah, I need one for sure.
Yeah. So that's the only way to do that. The only way to get that. So, sorry to interrupt there. That was a good talk track. I just wanted to make sure.
I have a couple more pictures.
You have a couple more pics? Cool.
Yeah, so let's kind of tying into the
Yeah, so this is the tanks. We do a lot of tanks. We do big stuff. We try to do big models.
Well, that's an unusual subject right there.
Well, so these are the funnies. So Hobart's funnies, they were used on D-Day on some of the beaches, and it's really neat how they did it. Like the bobbin, I guess they had the chain scorpion flail, so that would clear some mines. They take the bobbin, they put that down on the beach so that the other tanks behind it could roll up. And then there's a bridge layer later on, and they lay the bridge up, lets them go up the seawall. And then there's another one with a fascine, and it rolls it into the ditch. So they had all these plans to, basically take the beachhead. And so no one really has made these models. So we thought this would be a great one to spend some time on. So that was another.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen
that we did.
I don't think I've ever seen one in our scale before.
I don't think so. I think we'll probably do a couple of smaller scales. Small scales are really good for printing because the cost economics are really favorable. But when you get bigger like this, resin's really good. But I think we're going to try to explore some different scales with some of this stuff.
Right. Well, there's all kinds of smaller war games that use tanks. So, yeah, you definitely want to get in on that, too.
Oh, yeah. Most of the ones I play are 6mm.
Fascine.
I like the small ones. That's the
wow,
fascine.
Those turned out really nice.
Oh, and actually, neat. Inside there in the center, holding the bundle of sticks up is a 3D printed part. So we 3D printed a lot of stuff on these models. In fact, these models, they have metal, resin, and 3D printed parts in them. And I don't think
so. The retail version actually is part print.
Yeah, on the next one that you're going to see is, I guess he's got that next. It's the bridge. There's a lot of 3D printed parts on that one. So everywhere you see a girder is a 3D print. And then that little box winch at the back, that's a 3D print. Some of the other pieces are wires and metal. And then to make the bridge, I wish I'd brought it. It's across the street in the other shop. But the bridge comes apart so you can, transport it to games or whatever it is. But we had to use metal because it kept breaking if we used resin or if we used 3D print because it's so heavy. Right. And so that's kind of where we got into this thing. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a resin metal 3D print kit. Plus, this one's got some wires that we cut and put in there for the customer to build.
Wow, so that was a fun one. Pretty well detailed as well. What is a kit like that retail for, Dave?
The fascine was $50, $50 or $60. The bobbin was $70, and then that really complex kit. There's a lot of pieces to it. It's an $80 kit.
Oh, that's not bad though. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's complex. We try to make it so it's fun to build. Another thing, you know, like plastic kits, you got all these little pieces you got to put together, and I don't really care for that. I kind of like,
Oh,
I want
that's
to have
cool.
quick assembly and some good details. Oh,
Yeah,
that
look at
picture's
that.
really, yeah, that picture's kind of goofed up
Yeah,
there.
this
I don't
thing's
know.
Another
really
thing you
neat.
don't see.
Yeah.
You don't see a Higgins boat very often.
Yeah, that one, he has
Hmm.
inserts inside there. And so he made 40 figures for the D-Day project. And so we took them all together and we made these little inserts. So as you deploy them out of the boat, out of the Higgins boat, it looks like it's really happening. But those are
That's
really
neat.
5 different chunks of resin inside there. And the heads, those are all 3D printed heads.
Huh.
Yeah, I should have brought some props. I didn't think about that.
No, that's okay. No, these are great.
Some of the older models. These are the Japanese variants that we make for World War II. You can just slip through those. I think we did these probably, gosh, 4 or 5 years ago. I think these were part of a Kickstarter we did. We've done 3 Kickstarters. We've done 3 Kickstarters for ourselves, and then I think we've built parts and supported 70 or 80 Kickstarters out there for various customers and people. Like Reaper, you know, we do stuff for them, obviously. This one's a pretty popular.
Nice one.
They call that an armored car. That's not a tank.
Right.
I think there's two more Japanese tanks after this.
I only have the one, actually. This is the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
And then we have a whole series of U.S. tanks, German tanks. The pictures I just grabbed what I had available really easy and sent that over.
Well, you were talking about.
So
go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so if you guys are considering or planning out your entries for next year's ReaperCon, we do have an ordnance category. And if you're like, I don't even know what kind of tank or anything that I'd paint, there's some great examples right there that you can order from Trenchworx.
Yeah, and that's a good category. That's a good category. Get your stuff seen.
Yeah, definitely. It's a growing category every year, so it's good and even if you haven't painted anything like that before, it's always fun to just try something new. If all you've ever done is fantasy figures, and like I've never done anything historical or anything vehicle or ordnance oriented, it's good to broaden your skills, your painting skills, and you bring it back to your normal fantasy models. You'll see that it pushes you a little bit. So that's cool.
It'd be fun to see you do some camo pattern stuff.
Yeah, making it rusty and doing a lot of the weathering things and different camo patterns. So that's always fun to see.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you were talking about doing things you love. What games do you play?
Oh, well, let's see. We play D&D, obviously, a lot of D&D. Play Warhammer, 40K, Kill Team. Some of the other stuff we'll play is like Blitzkrieg Commander. That's like a 6mm World War II game.
Yeah.
We have some Napoleonic games that we'll play. Age of Eagles. Let's see what else is out there. We play D&D, obviously. Sword in the Flame. We play that a lot. A little bit of historical stuff. I get in these modes where I don't want to paint like an army, so I like doing just single figures, and that's when we get down the D&D track. I think I probably spend more time painting for playing D&D and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the skirmish scale games. Time period doesn't bother me. I'll play anything, but I do like the smaller, the Necromunda, Kill Team type stuff.
Oh yeah, Necromunda. Yeah, we play Necromunda and
Legends of the West. That's a good one.
Yeah, Frostgrave is good, and then
Frostgrave is great.
This Is Not a Test. We play that quite a bit too. So there's a couple of them there, and we always do a Wild West game every so often. So those are always fun. And everybody always seems to get shot in the gut or the lower groin area.
Yeah, those are fun if you build a little town and spread out the whole thing. Yeah, they're fun to watch. They're fun to play. So you paint up all your stuff too before you play?
Most of the times, yeah.
Yeah.
We get they're all painted. I mean, if we play D&D, we'll do a big spread. So like we did the Secret of Salt Marsh. So on the dining room table, I built out the entire building. I'm usually the DM, so I get to have all that fun.
Cool.
And sometimes I get to play, but it's what it is. And we lay out everything. We've got a lot of Dwarven Forge stuff that we use, and then we'll 3D print something if we want some room or anything special like that. So I mean, we got 12 3D printers, so they're always running.
Yeah, that must be very handy
for work.
Yeah, for work.
So we must have some weather or something between Michael and the stream. You keep kind of blurring out a little bit, Michael. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Looks good right now.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, good. Let's just roll with it.
Yeah.
It's probably my paint job at this point is probably better to be seen blurry. So.
It looks good from here. I'd call it done if it was me.
Well, further away you hold it, the better it looks too. And if I squint my eyes, it looks even better. But yeah, and there's his head. I worked on his head a little bit earlier. If that ever comes into focus, that's a little bit better. So yeah, he's a big boy. He's a big, huge, solid piece.
I believe that's a Questron piece, isn't it? Is that Questron?
Yes, it is. It is not a. It's the Questron folks that did this. So. Yeah, big and solid. Oh, Questron did it, but Ron told me this, and I don't want to forget it. Daryl Roberts did a lot of work on this piece individually. He will take Questron's pieces and have to translate them into, Reaper stuff and printing and casting and well beyond my level of depth of knowledge. But I guess he spent an inordinate amount of time adjusting this to Ron's specifics. Because sometimes Questron will just send him a dragon, and he'll like, okay, knowing that he's going to adjust it to, he's going to Darylify it, if that's a word. We can make that a word.
Well, I believe Daryl recently just did the sugar skull sculpture.
Yeah.
It's the subject of a contest going on right now at Reaper.
Yeah, if you get yourself a sugar skull, paint it up, enter it in. And that's as much as I know. And what do they win?
I'm not sure what they don't
win. A pokey tool.
I remember
they don't win a crow's nest pokey tool. I know that.
No, you can't win a crow's nest pokey tool unless you're a guest or unless you win it in our chat.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. So.
Well, so do you play,
Dave? Tell us.
Go ahead.
Tell us a little bit about how you got hooked up with Reaper.
Oh yeah, so me and Paul, he's the fellow who runs sales and printing and everything over in Trenchworx. We would go to Gamma every year, really, and we had met Adrian several times, and we talked to her a few times, and we kind of. Whenever we're all fans, right? So we're really nice to talk to the guys, and I guess we gave them a model, and Ed saw the model and put it on Ron's desk and says, "Hey, you ought to call these guys because it looks like they might know what they're doing." And so Ron calls, and he leaves this 3 or 4 minute phone message, and he talks about who Reaper Miniatures is, where they are. That they make miniatures that are used for role-playing games. Like we don't know anything about it. I'm sitting here looking at 20 miniatures on my desk while I'm listening to this. And so I called them back and, I said, okay, yeah, we'll do whatever you want. Just give us a chance. I'm glad to. And so that was maybe 5 years ago, I think. And we've been helping them ever since. And Ron usually calls us, he never calls us at the last minute. I got to say, he always gives us, 2 years notice when he wants something. And then, he sends it to us and then we'll build it for him. So I was being sarcastic there too.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Yes. We caught it, I think.
Yeah. I think we all know that. I was about to call, and when I looked at, I had to look up to see, is he serious here? Is he
Yeah,
really?
is he
Because
serious?
No,
that's
no.
not the Ron I know. Yeah,
It's usually like, hey,
Well,
can you
Ron
have this
had
for me next
developed,
week?
exactly.
yeah, Ron
But
had
it's been a lot
developed
of
some,
fun.
he developed
Good,
some really
Jason.
legendary cold calling skills back in the day. I remember we had a small comic and game store, and Ron would call us up, try to get us to buy Reaper miniatures, and he was very good at that cold call thing. So that's probably why he wanted to spend a little time making sure you knew who he was.
Yeah, he's good at it. He's a good sales guy. I've learned a few tips from him as well, so I got to give him some credit for that. But yeah, he called us this 5 years ago, and we've done. I don't remember if it was like Bones number 2. Maybe we started doing some stuff. I
Do you
think the
remember what the
first
first thing
model
was
we
you
ever
did?
got,
Oh,
he gave
go
us a
ahead.
lot of dragons, and we did the Tarek Zul. That was the model that we got, and it was one of the first ones, that we had gotten that was that big, and we had to figure some things out too. And we're like, don't screw this up, make sure it looks good. So, you kind of go through the whole things that you're trying to put your best foot forward, and it all ended well. So, I think Ed had bought. We built a giant FT-17 tank, and he bought that, or he didn't buy it. He got it. We gave it to him, but it was a giant model that they've got from us. We did the pirate ship. So when they did the volumetric print for the pirate ship, we did that one, for them too. Because those things, when you get really big models, you got to be kind of particular. You don't really
Sure.
know, so you got to make sure you print them and know how big they're going to
Yeah, that
be and
went
how much
through a
the model's
number
going
of
to cost, things like that.
steps. I remember Chris talking about that.
Yeah, we actually. So believe it or not, the first time we printed it, I think we scaled it wrong into the printer because we have to take whatever you guys make and we
Right.
modify it, and then we do a gut check against some reference measurement that you give us. So we actually printed one that's about 50% bigger than that, but nobody's ever
Oh
seen
my!
that one. Because I was like,
Do
man,
you
I don't
still
think it's
have
supposed
that?
to be this big. We have parts of it. The print jobs,
Okay.
they were so big, it was like a 70-hour print job where the head has to move around. And so some of the
Mm-hmm.
stuff kind of messed up, but when we put it together, it was like, hey, wait a minute. I don't think this is supposed to be this big. So we sent some pictures back and forth and finally figured out, yeah, this is wrong.
Well, you could put a trolling motor on that and go fishing.
Yeah, probably, yeah. A small baby or child or animal could fit in it and ride around in the lake. I'm sure it'd be fine. These are
Well,
all the
maybe print
behind the
one big
scenes
enough to
mistakes
live in.
nobody ever
That'd be good.
knows. What's that?
I said print one big enough to live in. That'd be good. Seems like your logical
We
next
did.
step.
Thinking about that. So we had a paleontologist here. One of the museums. He's a friend of ours, and he started sending us some of his work where he would scan it. He would
Yep.
scan some of the fossils, or then he would clean them, and he would go back. And he was a ZBrush artist, so he would make it work. And I think we were 14 feet long Allosaurus that we printed. Man, I should have sent him that picture too.
How many
Hang on a
pieces?
second.
How many parts was that?
Oh my gosh, he was maybe I don't know. There's like 200 pieces, and so when we print him, we have a soluble material that goes on there. It's like supports it, and we throw
Right.
it in the bath. Well, my co-op student, he was working with me, and he didn't think about what he had done. He took the tray and stuck it in the bath, and then all the parts melted off. And so we had this big box of 200 dinosaur parts, and they were life size. And so we were like, "Oh man, do we need to go back through this and kind of show you, figure out what parts are what?" And the paleontologist says, "No, man, I'm good. I've been looking at this thing for 7 years. I know I'm okay with it." You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if I can find that picture because it's worth showing. I got to log in here. You can keep talking while I'm grabbing
No,
it.
I think that's great. Someone
No,
just
that's
approached
neat.
me about paleontology and some of the field specimens they were trying to scan and print. Maybe I'll send them your way. I hadn't thought you
Yeah,
guys were
cool.
doing that, but no, that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool.
we've done we've done a lot of neat models, and we get a lot of stuff that people can't build. I mean, they'll come to us and they know that we do weird things.
Uh-huh.
And usually if we have a salesperson who's trying to sell us like I don't know, a printer, HP or whoever it is, or
Right.
Stratasys, or like a piece of equipment, we're always the last place that the salesman will take another, like a top level salesman. We're always the last place they visit because I've never seen anybody leave with a frown on their face. Because they walk through here and they see all this stuff. It's like going to Reaper, you know. But these guys, they're not used to some of the stuff that we do, and then they see it and they're like, "Oh, it's," you know, you see some of this stuff from computer games or wherever, you know, it came from,
Yeah.
and they all are very cheery when they leave. I'm going to find this
Well, we
picture and
talk
send
about
it.
medical device detail and stuff, but you know, some of the prints you're making for fantasy figures are amazingly detailed. The level of detail is pretty close.
I found it here. Yeah, we use Stratasys printers for a lot of our engineering prints. So we
Uh-huh.
print things that go in the final machine. And like if you've ever
Right.
seen Audrey, there's probably maybe 30 or 40 printed parts inside there.
Right.
And so the Stratasys machines, they're accurate to about half a thou or a thousandth. Well, they'll tell you they're 5,000ths, but we know
Wow.
how to make them
That's
work better.
amazing.
And we print a lot of parts that actually are used inside of a piece of equipment to, you know, manage something, even if it's just holding a cord in place. Let's see here.
So you talked about the Allosaurus. What's the strangest thing you've printed that you can talk about? Because I mean, I don't want you telling us any really weird stuff, but what's the strangest thing that you can think of?
Oh man, I think the Allosaurus was kind of cool. We printed the the nasal swabs. That was really weird. In fact, there's apparently for the nasal swabs, there's 8 or 9 different. Uh, this is actually a good story, and I think about it. They have all these little weird ways that they collect the mucus up inside your head.
Right.
So they gave us some stuff that was they called it honey. We did honeycomb shapes, like a honeycomb that would go up and grab it. It's got a little 6-sided thing,
Right.
hexagon. They gave us these little bubbly type things that were all put together, and that would go up. But then we took some liberty and we used dragon scales, kind of like some of the stuff that you guys have modeled, and that ended up being the one that worked really good. So it was really kind of funny because the medical group that had sent those models to us, we said, well, we made this one. It looks like it works a lot better than these others. So that, I don't know where that ended up, but there are
That's
dragon
funny.
scales on COVID nasal swabs out there in the world.
So if you
And
see a
they're
nasal
true
swab
dragon
coming
scales.
at you
That's
and it's
cool.
got dragon scales,
Yeah,
you can
that's
thank
right.
Dave and Paul.
That's right. Let me see here. I got this. I'm going to
Well,
send
you've
this
been up
to.
some very prominent noses in this country then.
Oh, I'm
Right.
sure. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm going to send this to Justin. He can share this thing. He just got to step through it pretty quick. I don't know. You got me fired up now. You're asking me what's the weird stuff that we've made.
Yeah, well, it seems like you've just the number of things that you've printed is very broad. I mean,
Oh, we've probably. I mean, in the end, I bet we've printed maybe 300,000 or 400,000 different parts. One of the cool things we did a one model, and the company was called Succubus Publishing, and they made an angel, and she's, you know, got a bow. She's got a bow and arrow, and she's got these
sure.
awesome wings that kind of wrap around the model. And the artist had put the bowstring on there. Now you know, whenever you draw something, y'all never put the bowstrings on anything.
Right, we never do on the sculpting.
So
Well,
we
I
saw
won't
it.
say
We're
we
like,
never do, but most of us don't.
yeah, just go ahead. We said, well, let's go ahead and print it and see if we can get it. And so we got the bowstring as part of the model. The model's called Remy, and it's from the Madara Kickstarter, and it's got that on there. And then recently we did one for another company. The model is called MCDM, and it's called Korsakef, and it's a giant mummy, and he's got all these bandages just flying around. And he was one that we looked at it and we're like, no, we can't build this. And then, of course, I don't like to say I can't do something because I'm stubborn, and don't tell my wife I said that, but whatever. So there's all these bandages flying around, and I says, I think we can do it in metal. So we kind of beat that up, and finally we went back and we made it as a 3D print. I'll take a screenshot and I'll send that one over. Not to, I guess it's okay that we show other people's stuff, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, let me send you a screenshot of this guy.
This large PDF, is there something specific on it? Because I can't show the whole PDF.
You know what? Grab the screenshot of the. There's a dinosaur, a dragon. It's a dinosaur, and there's some plates on there, and it shows the print pattern that was laying on the tray. Does that make sense, or you want me to go in there and grab it?
No, I think I got it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, show it up there. Let's see here. I don't see it up there yet, right?
No. You got Justin working today.
Yeah,
we're Justin working. I love this. Yeah, get that Justin to work.
I like David Baker. Otherwise, I would tell him to not send me stuff during the show.
Yeah.
I got it.
He's all right.
Well, he's been hard to get on, so we want to make sure to treat him right.
He's been Dave seemed to be very elusive for some reason.
He's just so busy.
Jason calls me though. He asked me the day before, and I get kind of booked.
Yeah.
I've asked you weeks before. I've asked you the day before. I asked you 2 weeks one time, and it didn't work. So then I said, well, maybe I'll just drop one on him. And I asked you the day before, and that didn't work. So
see, Dave's even throwing people under the bus.
Worked this time.
Is great.
So this worked pretty good. I remember 2 weeks is about the good area.
Yeah, so I guess the weirdest thing probably was that dinosaur, and eventually we'll see it here, hopefully.
How long did it take you to print that dinosaur, Gene?
That dinosaur took 6 or 7 days, and we had to do him at a pretty fine resolution. And we did him on the big printer. We have a 14 by 16 by 16 high, so we could print Jason there, and show his head and his shoulders. We could probably do the whole bust at once.
Cool.
But it was 6 different print jobs, and then the skull is on there. In fact, maybe he's having a little bit of trouble. I'll just pull this thing up and send him a screenshot of this thing too. Might be easier.
No, VMix is arguing with me right now. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just typing in. I lost the chat stream somehow. I mean, it's there, but it's not responding.
Yep.
Let's see if I can get it re-going again.
Let's see here. Back when I was in school, I used to be a disc jockey, so all this dead air is making me kind of nervous.
Well, we've been trying real hard to not step over each other, so we wind up having a little bit of dead air every once in a while.
Yeah,
Who is Trenchworx?
This one, you don't have to show this. If you just want to hop through there a little bit.
Oh.
Let's see
here. I just sent it to you, Justin. You got it.
Did you? Let's see.
This is one shot. You just showed this. It'll be cool.
No. Hashtag not professionals, Dave. So we just fumble through the show for an hour plus. We're just happy to make it through and that they let us back on the following week. So you're fine.
Oh.
Fine. Dead air. Yeah, we've had a lot deader air than this, so we're good.
Yeah. What other stuff you want to know?
So, if you had to, maybe this isn't a fair question, but when it comes to the fantasy stuff, that is super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
really neat.
That's the mummy with the unwrapping.
Yeah, that's Corsica, and it looks like that. like I say, I wish I had
Yeah.
brought props. Next time I come on, if you ever invite me again, I'll bring a whole.
You're
Wow, I
invited.
bet you. I
I'll even
bet you
bring a
that
full size
Michael's
Well,
adding
you.
dinosaur.
that to his Christmas list right now.
Well, I'll
But yeah,
send you
this
my address,
model.
and you can just send the props to me, and I'll show them off on camera here. Just and then maybe I'll just keep them afterwards.
So Paul, he did a great job with this. He had to cut. It actually looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only part of it that is resin is the body, but the ribbons, there's about 7 ribbons, and they all key into various locations. And then the model, it's about, like, my hand's like this big. It's about that
Mm-hmm.
big, about 3 inches tall, and it's floating in there. And there's one point, I was building one this past weekend, and he's got some keys in his feet, and you put him on the key and he just snaps right into place. And I was kind of laughing. I was like, I don't think it was meant to do that, but it's awesome that it
Yeah,
does. So,
that's
but that was
fantastic.
a
Oh,
neat
Right.
model. And actually, the fellow who does this, he used to work for Blizzard Entertainment, and now he's the
Mm-hmm.
art director for MCDM, Jason Hasenauer.
oh
And
yeah,
he does a lot of the dragons and stuff that we do for those guys.
How many
that's a
printers do
tremendous
you
piece.
have?
Yeah,
Uh,
Gene had asked that question.
about 11,
11.
11,
maybe 9. So one of them's broken. It's been
maybe
broken for
9.
like a. Yeah, it
11
depends.
to
It
9
depends.
somewhere.
Anyway, it kind of
9 to
fluctuates.
11 printers.
Yeah, we've sold probably 4 or 5. We end up, we just cycle them through and we'll put them on eBay or
Upgrade.
something
Mm-hmm.
after the technology's worn itself out. Because I mean, you
Right.
get a printer, and the first thing you want to do is get a printer, right? I got a printer. I'm awesome. The second thing you want is another printer, because the first printer is always being
Yep.
used, and so
Yep.
you're always aggravated by that. So you get that guy. Then the next thing you want a bigger printer, because you want to print big stuff. And then the final thing that you want to do is you want better resolution. So you're going through this progression, and then by the end of it, you're like, well, I need one more printer. So that's what keeps happening. It's like they start having babies, and they're printing other printers, and
Do
it's
you
crazy.
use all one slicing program, for instance, or do you have different
No,
slicing programs for different
actually,
printers?
what we do, I think one of the programs is,
Oh, look at
I
that.
can't remember the
Here's
name.
this too, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's the
Oh wow.
dinosaur. So I think he ended up he put the parts together, he mudded it, got it ready, and then they sold it to a museum in England. Um, we see museums, and it's not everything's altruistic. I mean, they have to make money too, so they can survive as well. They're like all the rest
Mm-hmm.
of us. And those 6 different squares on the right side, those are the print jobs. So the short side is 14, and the long side is 16, and then they're about 2 or 3 inches high. So you can see the vertebrae and the scapula, and then the rib bones, and then the 2 plates of the skull that come together. And what he did was he scanned it, and then he went back in ZBrush and touched it up, and then they printed it and they filled in. They actually had the fossil. The fossil that's shown there is
Sure.
probably 70%, and he filled in all the missing pieces with 3D prints. And then
Yep.
so all that
Oh,
was
cool.
mudded to match and everything like that.
Well,
So it's a real art to do that too.
when you send that mummy to Michael, go ahead and send me one of these dinosaurs. I'll put it in my backyard.
Yeah. Small one. I give you one like this big.
Oh no, I want the 14-footer. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
No, we did him. I think we probably did him 6 or 7 years ago too. We've been printing for about 11 years. We were some of the first probably that got technology. And I said, it's like, we got to be there when it's ready to make miniatures. And now we're in the heyday, right? We're in the glory
Mm-hmm.
days
Right.
of
Oh
making
yeah.
things. You can want something.
So do you
in the
find
next.
yourself using different resins? Like what would be the resin you would use for something that big?
Oh,
The
that's
printing
FDM.
resin.
That's going to be
Oh, that's FDM. Okay.
yeah, that's going to be an ABS or a poly something or other.
Yeah, that's a lot tougher.
It's a thread, but we don't. We have higher grade printers. I mean, our printers cost, the printer that did this was like 140 grand.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
But it did all of that work in 5 or 6 days, because these were really big jobs. And if you did that on a regular printer, like a hobby printer, it probably would take you a month and a half to print that thing. We don't spend a lot of our time slicing. We use the programs that come with the machines because, I mean, we're a production environment. So even
Sure.
though we sculpt the supports and make all of that work that way, we don't have the time to go through and then do all those finer details. We want to make it, push it in the machine and hopefully, have that come out of the machine like we expected. But we're just like everybody else, I mean, we might have a 10% failure rate, or we can print the same model. I think some of the models that we've done for Reaper, we've probably done 3 or 4 different prints to finally get it to work right.
Right.
And it's just, I know people at home that, do this as a hobby, they get really frustrated. But even we do it all the time, and we just get aggravated and have to go to the mailbox for 74 minutes and then come back and like, okay, I can work on it now.
Well, that's nice.
Just,
I'm sure we have a number of people in the audience that are happy to hear that, because I do hear a lot of frustrations with the technology still, but to me it's
oh yeah.
amazing that if I would have known this, 30 years ago that this was heading this way, I don't think I could have imagined it at the time.
I did a video for Stratasys years ago, and it was kind of cool. They had brought a film team in to kind of see the shop, and it's since gone. I don't know where it is anymore as far as the video, but I was showing them, I had all these boxes, and it was a big box like you keep all your Halloween decorations in.
Yeah.
And I had, several of them, and I shook it, and it was just all rattling parts. I was like, this is every mistake we've ever made. And then of course my wife made me throw it all away, so I lost all the reasons that we failed stuff. But then we started a new box, so now we have boxes of all these dragon parts and stuff they're all just print failures. And hopefully if you do it, you kind of learn and get better. But we got the guys that work here, I mean, they're fantastic. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to cut the parts, and so they increase their opportunity for success. It's you get a model, you download a model from a website, and it'll probably work. I mean, people are getting really good about testing them and making sure they work on a certain piece of equipment.
Right.
But now, I mean, there's 500 brands of printers out there, and then you got
Easy.
That's not that many. There's 50 brands of printers, but then you got 500 different types of resins.
Yep.
And then you've got all these different cleaning processes. Like if you leave something in alcohol too long, it gets soft, or it gets all wavy, or it melts the part. So there's so many variables that you have to fiddle with and try to make work. So once we kind of find a sweet spot, we just stay in that lane, and we don't move, because we want to make parts.
Well, that makes sense.
I think somebody asked me one time about it. They're like, making 1 or 2 parts is art, but making more than that is science. You got to be real specific about what you're doing. And, changing variables is not something, once you figure it out, don't change anything. Just leave it alone. Because Monday when you come in, it's going to be irritated at you and not work.
That's great. That's tremendous. Well, this has really been a lot of fun. At least it was for me. I hope it was for you. I couldn't tell Michael.
It took me a while to get me going.
A sour look on his face for a little while.
No, this is fantastic. We're definitely going to have you back on again if you'd like to come on. There's so much more to talk about. We might be able to do
I've never had a chance really to watch too many of these, but now that I've done this one, next time I'll have some more stuff for you, and we'll talk about some of
that'd be great.
Behind the scenes.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun if you could do it. If we could even maybe figure out how to do a little walkthrough, maybe.
Yeah, there's some stuff we can show. There's some stuff we don't show. I mean,
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you can't show.
And it's just to talk about that a little bit. Somebody will ask us, and we'll be very polite and say, "I can't show you that," because we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do that, and it costs everything.
Well, it's your work product.
It has a cost to it, right? So we got to kind of protect that. Yeah. But we're not trying to be rude or anything like that. We're just really, really cautious about that. Plus, some things we
it's completely understood.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I wish I could have shown the machines. What I'll do is I'll get some pictures of the machines and I'll scrub them so I can show
Yeah,
certain parts.
figure out what you can show without giving away too much of your magic.
Yeah, because one of the machines that I just did, it's got 2 robots on it, and those robots are moving around doing work. And when you see this, it's like, oh wow, that's kind of cool.
Sounds great.
And then we take all that technology and we put it inside of our resin house, and so we're always trying to pull labor out and try to make things a lot easier and more precise. It's really our whole job is about removing variability. It's just get rid of the variables, because if you can get rid of the
Right.
variables, you'll be successful.
Huh.
And we want to
Good
make awesome
philosophy.
stuff. So, all right. Well, that was
Well,
all good. I
cool.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, Justin, how many did we end up with on the
I
Poke
am
Tools?
counting as we speak. Let's see here. I'm making
Right.
sure I didn't miss any. This is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here.
Yeah, we need to
So
have
I would.
Dave. You need to have you on because I want to do 3D printing at some point, and I want to
Well,
talk
yeah.
to a pro on
When
how
you
to
come
get
out to
set up.
Sandy, yeah, when you come this
Okay.
way, we'll give you a really good tour and show you some stuff. And like I
Okay,
say, I
cool.
think
I'm excited.
what we're doing a lot of now is we're helping people, like all the Patreons. They create things that are awesome. They don't have a
Hmm.
means to find someone to print, so we're building a whole system for helping Patreons run their prints through our shop. And then because we already do
Oh,
distribution for Victoria and for Knuckle Duster and for ourselves and for a few other people, we can just distribute all those things for them. So
crazy.
if they have it and they don't have a means to have a production facility, and again, like I've been an operations manager for 20 years, I know how to make a lot of parts. We can help them do that type of thing. So that's kind of where we're headed, I think, and it keeps us
Yeah,
entertained, and we love seeing models. I'd much rather build models than machines. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but
yeah,
I love seeing the first cast of like that pirate that you pulled out a while ago. You see that, and it's like,
right.
oh, that's really good, and it's always
Yeah,
satisfying.
So we're giving
that's more fun
away
too.
one Poke Tool.
One Poke Tool. Can we
One
make it
Poke
2
Tool.
Poke Tools?
Only if you ask
Let's
nicely.
make it. Let's make it 2 Poke Tools. So
Yeah,
2
let's
Poke
do
Tools.
2.
Get your hashtag freeze in if you haven't already. And we'll be doing 2 Poke Tools today. And give it another minute. See if anybody needs to do hashtag free. It looks like everybody has. All right, Aaron Hartwell. Aaron Hartwell, you already have a Poke Tool. I gave you one at
She can win
ReaperCon.
another one. You
No,
can't give a
okay.
Poke Tool unless you win it. Remember?
That is true.
Oh yeah, I didn't give her one. I'm sorry. I totally didn't do that. Um anyways, all right. I'm ready when you are,
All right, I'm gonna announce it.
Justin. All right. Uh Zox 2277.
Yep.
Yeah, you got a
And
Poke Tool. And Quinn I
Quindy
don't know, you
LaRue.
do that. Quindy LaRue.
Quindy LaRue.
See, I suck at those names, so I can't pronounce that stuff. I can't read it and understand it quick enough. So, all right. Hey, Justin,
yes.
next week? Next week, are we go or no go?
I will say tentatively go.
Tentatively
Oh,
go.
okay.
All right. So we'll be back next week, hopefully. And there's just some inner workings, not to get too much in the details, that needs to be worked out behind the scenes to make the show happen next week. Just schedules and whatever to coordinate. But yeah, we should be back with another spectacular guest. Of course, not as good as Dave Baker, but
No, it's
we'll
going to be
effort
hard
to
to
come
match this
close.
one, I think.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
And yeah. Oh, let me see. Shirt. Wrong camera. Shirt. Nightheart Gaming. This Friday on Reaper Twitch is Dave. You like to watch? If you ever are super bored and you want to watch Twitch D&D being played on Twitch every other Friday,
Super
myself,
bored on a
Jason,
Friday night.
Gene Van Horn, Rhonda Bender, Jen Greenwald. We all get together, and Bobby Jackson. Don't want to forget Bobby. We get together with Frank at Nightheart Gaming, and Justin is the producer, and we play D&D. And we've been playing it like a year and a half now, almost.
Yeah,
Long
at least
time.
half a
Yeah.
decade, I think.
So, yeah, we've started
Show
from level
number
1 and we're at level
155.
7 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Oh, man.
are. Yeah, we're the murder hobos, and we're killing and rolling for initiative and talking to people as little as we can.
I'll have to
And
check that out.
yeah,
I didn't know you
yeah,
guys had done
should.
that. I
It's
hadn't
fun.
seen it.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's the best show on Reaper Twitch. Second is The Crow's Nest, and third is that little
The
thing
best
called
show.
Reaper Live. Yeah, that other show. But yeah, I would say even third is Rhonda's thing, and then Reaper Live, because all they do is talk about what they did the week before, right? So we actually have real content with real guests. They gave
We
up
do.
on their guests. Like Dave, you were on their original iteration or format of their show actually when they tried. So it's we took that away from them and really realized the potential of having good guests on. So
That's funny. Yeah. That was a
yeah,
fun show, though.
you
I
are the
enjoyed
best.
doing that with them.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks everybody for tuning, watching. And if you're watching this after the fact, thanks for watching it after the fact. I know a lot of people have to work or have dinner plans or picking up their kids or whatever. So thanks for
Yeah,
we get a
stick
lot
around
of
for a minute, Dave. Stick
Oh, I
around for a
will.
minute
Yeah.
after we go off.
yeah, don't hang up. So yeah, that's it. Do we want to do a show breakdown or no?
Actually, I've got to update both the one on ours and the one that
All
I
right.
have. Yeah, so it's executed.
Top of my
this
head.
week now.
So we Anne's still doing her show Monday through Friday at around 10:30 to 11:30, right?
11:30 Central Time, but yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Lord, here we go.
yeah, that's so 11:30 Central Time, 12:30 Monday through Friday is Anne in Reaper Toolbox, and where she's painting something every day. On Mondays around 2 o'clock ish, maybe that's 3 o'clock Central Time.
2 o'clock Central Time.
2 o'clock Central Time is Rhonda with Beyond the Kit. And again, Rhonda Bender has a weekly preparation where she puts in probably 100 times more work and prep work than we do for this show. What do you think?
Oh,
Jason?
absolutely.
Absolutely. She's fantastic. And then on Tuesday afternoons, the show, when the three of us can get our heads together and actually have the show. And here's a little Miko sighting. Oh, there she goes. She's running away. And then on Wednesdays, ooh, what do we do? Oh, Luca, right?
Also at 2
It's
o'clock.
Luca.
Yeah.
Also
Yep.
at 2 o'clock.
Well, although he's been
not-
starting earlier, so that's another reason why we have to kind of change the schedule. He's going to be starting 30 minutes earlier than that going forward.
So Luca at 1:30 ish from live from Italy.
Live from
We
Italy.
don't. Have you ever established whether it's on the second floor or not?
No.
No. Okay, I was just wondering. And then Thursdays, and again in the morning, and then we do Crafty Corner, Crafty Creative, Josh, Foreman.
Yep.
Right. And fantastic show. And then that show on Thursday nights with Reaper Live, where they buy their viewership by giving away stuff. Right. No, it's fantastic.
And then
that's where you learn
Friday-
that's where you learn all the news. And then Friday's Reaperland, and in the morning Reaperland, and then this Friday is going to be Reaper Errant, just to wrap it all up. So
And sometimes on
sometimes on
House of
Friday
Vex.
is the House of Vex, and that's even more squirrely on when it actually shows than even our show, according to
Yep.
Justin. So that's with Aaron
Nice.
Lovejoy, and he's doing lots of airbrushing stuff and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's it. No weekend shows anymore, correct?
No weekend shows currently.
No weekend shows at this point. But always tune into Reaper Twitch to see what Justin is, who he's streaming.
Please
Right?
do.
Absolutely.
And there might be some otters.
There might be some others.
Might
Right
be
now we're
some
going to be
otters.
rating 2 dorks, 1 brush, though. Say hello for us. Drop a Reaper rating.
Send him a
which
brush.
you haven't. Thank you guys very much. Keep being awesome, and we will see
Yep.
you maybe next Tuesday.
Definitely.
guys.
next
Bye-bye,
Tuesday.
everybody.
Definitely.
Enjoyed
next
it.
Tuesday.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dave.
Definitely
Thanks, Justin.
a hard maybe.
Hard maybe.
Bye-bye.
Hard maybe. Thanks,
Pa-
guys.
Thanks, viewers.
yeah, a hopeful.